guys, let's go ahead and switch over and talk about currencies right now. Now, we've got a couple of currencies that we're going to talk about. I know that Chris has got a couple. Tyson's got a couple. I've got a couple that we're going to talk about. So let's go jump into the first one, Chris. Let's go jump into a currency pair that you focus in on right now. And then we're going to go to something else as well. But let's go talk about your currency pair right now of the week.
Sure. So my favorite pick of the week is the Eurocad. I'm in the trade right now. I've got actually my Perfect Storm Pro that's already in a couple of trades. I started to add near these lows from last week's pushes, and kind of anticipating a retracement going into this week's trading. So when I take a look at the Eurocad, right now, Gary, actually one of my best setups on Eurocad is just simply, we have a great pivot alignment. We have 3 missed weekly targets in a row. We got a monthly target. We've got past support all the way back up to 4,600 and 4,610. We also have an amazing bar count on my right trader charts, which, usually we see bar, extensions where we have these kind of unbalanced trends or, periods that will last 200 bars, 250 bars. The Eurocad right now is sitting at, I'm measuring this out, we're at 430 bars, and that's hasn't touched anything. So, we were almost joking about this for the last 2 weeks in the Flex trading room, because I'm like, we had 16 of 17 candles or 16 of 18 candles all bearish in a row. So we've hit oversold conditions. We're starting to see lots of divergence on multiple time frames. I think at the very least we have a correction coming back towards 4,500. I think a great spot to be out would be between 4,550 and 4,600. So I am starting to position myself now. A very near-term target, like I said, 4,450 to 4,500. Anything higher than that, I'm looking to scalp my way up towards those levels this week. And then I'm still going to maintain an overall position. I think that everything we're talking about with the CAD or the CAD basket, looking for CAD weakness, is going to be a short-term play with oil. So I'm still waiting for better confirmation to confirm that oil is in fact going to start dropping a little bit. We're at highs at $82, $83 right now. I can see the CAD correlating with that nicely. I can see oil dropping back into the low 70s, maybe lower. But I think any type of flinch on oil right now is really going to send the CAD basket to much weaker. So my favorite plays right now, I like pound CAD at the current levels. I like Eurocad. I think this week traders could probably grab a pretty straightforward 50 to 100 pips, if not more, because you can always put in a trailing stop loss and let it run. But I really like Eurocad long north towards 4,450 to 4,500 this week. If it goes up higher, ideally I'd be out of the trade altogether at 4,600. So that's one of my favorite Forex pairs this week.
Yeah, so let's stick, before we move into Tyson's pair, let's just stay with this at the moment right now, because I think it does affect a lot of the crosses that are traded against the Canadian dollar, right? Mm-hmm. And that is the big elephant in the middle of the lounge, call it, is the Canadian or these US oil. Now, if I go to the chart, let's go to US oil right here. If I look at US oil, and just so that you know, Chris, I have been talking about this as well last week. I've been talking about correction last week. I've been talking about it this week in the trading rooms. And looking at US oil, you can see right here we had a nice little swing going up. We had a pullback, wave 2. Wave 3 is up here. We had a shallow wave 4 pullback. We're right at the 1.27. So just a quick explanation to those watching right now. When the market moves in these cycles, what we tend to look for is at the 1.618 on a fifth wave move, we look for price to go ahead and move into a deeper correction move. And what's really exciting is we look for the market to go ahead and chase after the fourth wave low that it created. So go back to the chart right here, take a look at the chart. And this does correlate with what Chris is talking about right here is, here's the 1.27. This is the fifth wave completion. Now we look for price to drop back down to the fourth wave. So for those that like to look for turning points in the market, look to sell Canadian. Be bearish on CAD. All right. As oil dips back down to this level right here, that level's at 74, call it 90, 74.90. So we're looking for oil to drop back down to at least 74.90. So be bearish on CAD all the way south towards that level. When we get to that point, then we'll have to reevaluate and see what's going to happen with oil. When the oil finds support there, or we're going to continue to move further south, we'll have levels further down south as the market drops back south. But for right now, in the short term, midterm, call it what you want, we're looking for 74.90 to come into play. And then I'm going to go ahead and just jump into a currency pair that I'm looking at, 2 of them, but I'll be very quick on that. Then we're going to move to Tyson. And the currency pair that I'm looking at is New Zealand Cad. Looking for a rally on New Zealand Cad. We can see that we already came up here to test the backside of the trend line right here. I spoke about it inside the trading room. And if you go here into a short-term swing right here, this is why I'm still thinking New Zealand Cad is a rally. Because once again, if we go to the swings, look at this inside on the 1 hour. Wave 1, 2, 3 up here. We had our pullback. Now we're looking for the fifth wave. And so as the New Zealand Cad goes to around about 88.08, and trust me, if you've been in my trading rooms and you've been in my sessions, I've spoken about how many positions I have on a buy on New Zealand Cad. I'm locked and loaded on this right here. So when we go to 88.05, around about that level, it's time to go ahead and cash out, get the heck out of Dodge, and bank your profits. Now, last one is the last pair I want to look at right here. On my end is the the CAD Swiss. Again, a pair that I'm locked and loaded on this one right here as well. But if I go to the CAD Swiss on the daily time frame, look at this, and this is beautiful right here. This is like the cherry on the top for me, because you got, although I don't like cherries, but it is what it is. So if you go ahead and take a look over here, this is a strong resistance right here at the top. Strong resistance. I think once Chris sees this, he might be selling this one as well. We've got strong resistance right here. And if you look at the swings going up, that's always important to me. How much more can the market move up? Well, if I go ahead and drop my swings, take a look right here. We've gone ahead and created a wave 1. We've got it all the way up to the 1.618 right here. Dude, I'm expecting this to fall. If I go to the 4-hour time frame, do I see divergence? And the answer to that is yes, I do. Look at price and momentum are moving against each other, even though it was a little bit of a spike to the upside. There's a lot of bearish movement that we're expecting down south right here. So Canadian Swiss, definitely looking for sell on a Canadian Swiss. So that's something that's going to absolutely be key in the upcoming weeks ahead. Tyson, you got something really interesting on the pound jet.
Couldn't agree more with all of the analysis. Absolutely spot on. I'm looking at the Eurocad right now. We are 19 days since the prior high price. Confirmed fractal high. 19 days. That is the definition of oversold. I mean, crazy oversold. We have a longer term up that's still intact as long as price doesn't drop below 42.60. Here's the way I'd play it, guys. Because the 19 days, there's been one consistent pattern, and that has been every single high of those 19 days has been rejected and closed below. So if we're able to close above a prior day high, like as an example, today, if today can close above Friday's high, I think that is the first signal that the bulls are starting to say, okay, we're done. All right, you've had enough fun here. So I don't know if we're going to get it today, but we could. If price can close above 43.76 today, rock and roll, man, up.
Yep.
I actually think, Chris, we're going to get I'm going to look at 47.50 as my target. So here's the trade I like. I like targeting 47.50, getting long on a close above 43.76 and a stop of 42.60. A little bit wider stop, a little bit more risk, but man, I think you got 400 or 500 pips to the upside with maybe 150 pips of risk. I like that trade a lot. And Gary, I like all the trades you were talking about too. A lot.
Watch out for the 1.618 of the downswing. Here it is right here at the 1.618 of the first downswing right here. This is also tested right here by the low of the previous swings. So this at 40, we said 45.80. Sorry, 45.80. 45.80 is going to be a very significant level of resistance. Watch out for the level. And Tyson said absolutely he's going to be watching out for that as well. So good.
Yeah,
Tyson, you spoke about
buy up there, take profits, let it pull back 50, 60 pips, buy again, right up to that next level, and just ride the waves. Do you guys like the idea of riding the waves higher up to the 47.50, maybe a little bit lower, but up into that level?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would love to see. I mean, you're 47.50. I've got pockets drawn on my chart at 47.50 to 4,800. So, I mean, I'd love to get it there. I'm just saying, for me to get a little bit heavier in this week's positioning, I'm gonna respect the past support at 45.50 to 4,600. So, but Tyson, I still have my perfect storm has levels all the way up to like 48 that I'm in, and I've leveled in. So, I mean, my break even is sitting at 44.15 right now. So, for me to take this up to 46, 47, that's amazing. Like, that's great profit for me. Yes.
No, I love it. Right. The one that I want to throw at you guys, because it's super interesting. Now, I was actually very shocked that this was the case. Pound yen. First of all,
hold on, Tyson. Before you get your pound yen, just want to finish off over this one right here. I wanted to show something here quickly because based on your conversation about going higher, take a look over here. This is a big wedge that we broke out to the south side, and if we do break above here and go back to that 47 and we go higher than that, we could go all the way back up to 160 again. So this could be a long-term rally. Keep an eye on this because this could be a false breakout. This could be a bear trap right here that's going to get people buying once you get back above.
I think it will. So, I have not been bullish on the euro for, man, I can't even remember the last time I was actually like fairly. I'm getting pretty kind of medium term, not long term, but medium term bullish on the euro. And this is one of those charts that kind of tells me like, I don't know if it's for sure setting a bottom, but this is kind of how a bottom forms a little bit. So I like it a lot. Cool. Pound yen. So what's interesting, and this shocked me, I didn't even realize this until this morning. So I like where it's sitting. It's starting to break above, but it's actually what's super interesting about the level that's at right now. And it kind of tested a little bit. The level it's at right now is this is the first time since Brexit that it's actually went into kind of those Brexit highs right before the day of Brexit highs, near those day of Brexit highs. It is only the third pound pair that's done that. The other two, pound Aussie and pound New Zealand, both experienced about 1,000 pip sell-off at that same level. So when it tested those highs, within the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it actually sold off like 700 to 1,000 pips. The pound New Zealand, I think, sold off like 2,000 pips. So I like everything about this technically. I like the fact that we've established that we've kind of broke into that near that Brexit high, the Brexit day high, and I expect price to start breaking down. Now, conservative way to play this one would be wait for, go into like a 4-hour time frame, and we've got aggressive, really steep trend lines. So wait for a clear break and a close below those trend lines and start to get in. But the way I'm playing this is I actually like the push all the way down. I'm playing this in money flow, and my target. Give me a second here. I've got two targets. I've got a little bit of a more conservative target that I think we could hit within the next 1 to 2 weeks, and then a little bit of a longer term target that I think if we get the type of responses that we got in the pound Aussie and the pound New Zealand. So my targets on this is, my first target's going to be 52. And again, I think we could see that fairly quick. I think that 52 level we could see fairly quick, kind of getting back to that level of resistance, kind of that battle zone that I call there. And then ultimately, I actually think there's nice demand, some pockets, and a 382 retracement on this large up AB right around 43.80. So I want to have it right here. So my trade that I have structured, that I called out in money flow, is this exact trade. I want to look to sell on a break below today's low, which is 56.60. So I'm not in yet. In this trade, I'm actually technically in a couple other trades, but in the trade that I called out in money flows, I want to break below 56.60. First target is 52. Second target is 43.80. Now, again, I'm not going to just hold all the way down there. I'll kind of manage it. And then my stop, it's a little bit wider stop, but my stop is going to be 60.70. If we don't break above 60.70, what I'm saying is this. I am very confident we go down to at least 52 before price goes up to 60.70. And I'm going to have a bearish bias all the way until that happens. So every day, all I do is ask myself, have we broke below, or are we at 152? If the answer is no, I then ask, are we above 160.70? If the answer is no, I continue to have a bearish bias. So I really like this technically, and I love the fact that we're now sitting at or near that Brexit day high.
Okay.
That's the trade.
I agree on
I
the
want
sell.
to throw in there. I want to throw in there one more thing. I'm seeing indicators and bar counts that I have never seen on some of those yen crosses, by the way.
Yep.
So I'm throwing that out there. It's pretty nuts.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Hey, Tyson, I agree with the sell-off. I definitely agree with the sell-off. I am cautious at a level of around about 154, though. I know you got 152 as the target. I can't say,
like when I throw out a target, guys, and that's what Gary's mentioned is so important. I'm not going to tell you that, if I get short at 56.80 and we go down to 54 and I've got 280 pips worth of profit in, and I see exactly why Gary's saying that. We've got that level, kind of that level that we broke out of, right around that 53, 54 level. So I totally understand what you're saying. I'm not going to just let those profits evaporate. What I'll probably do is oftentimes that's when we create those head and shoulders or those reversal patterns. We come down, will then bounce. If I start to see a little bit of strength around that 54, I'll get out of the trade, lock in profits, and I'll wait for price to retrace back up and then get back in.
Yeah. Yeah, because I do see 53 over here. Do you see 53 as the market comes back? But looking at this big range that we're in, man, we hold up at these levels right here, and price doesn't break above that Brexit highs, or since the breakfast highs, we could go all the way back down here to 125 again. It all comes down to what happens with the dollar. How are the safe havens? How are the safe havens being adopted based on that? And do we see some movement inside JPY and Swiss franc as well?
So I will say this, and this will kind of bottom line it, because I think what you're talking about is so important, guys. What I cannot do is I cannot have price flush down to 153, come within 100 pips of my target, and then somehow lose money on this trade.
Right.
So what I have to do is I have to be able to lock in some profits. And even if price rallies back in, let's say it goes down to 153, I lock in those profits, it comes back up to 155 and I sell again. Well, now we've established kind of a new top, right? I don't need my stop all the way at 60, 70. I can move my stop now down to where that most recent U-turn is. So what I'm saying is don't give back. You have 200-300 pips worth of profits. There's no reason why this wouldn't be a nice trade. So yes, I think we're all kind of saying the same thing. We're pretty confident we're going to see another 200-300 pips down before the next 200-300 pips up.
Agree.
Perfect. Absolutely. Yep. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us again. It's been a great session again, Tyson and Chris. We always have a great time talking about these different market opportunities. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the session. Once again, subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and we'll see everyone back again the same time, same place next week as we go ahead and talk about great opportunities heading out for that following week. So let's go ahead and talk about that next week. But enjoy this week. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. Thank you.